Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to KHM Today, your weekly go-to resource for industry news and straight up fun. Today is October 6th. It is the first Wednesday of October, and we're celebrating it's fall, it's Halloween month. There's so many fun things to be thankful for, and it's like the best day ever. You guys, just one guess. Who do you think our industry expert is today? Well, I got my costume just for today. But I know I'll be wearing it many times throughout the month. So I'm just excited. So I feel like October, we can officially break out the sweaters, the pumpkin spice, the costumes, and the rakes. And it's a lovely time of year. And I am so incredibly thankful that we haven't had snow in the Denver metro area yet. Yes, we see snow all the time in September, but none quite yet. So I'm still thankful for that. It's still shorts weather here. So this month, you guys, we have a couple things to talk about. So October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So if you guys remember, David Pritchard was here last week talking about heart health. And so the mantra is the same, right? We're taking care of ourselves. We're doing what we need to do. We're getting our checkups. We're making sure that we're healthy because we love this business and we want to stay in it as long as we can. And so just make sure that you're going out and getting those checkups and making sure that everything is a-okay. So stay on top of that stuff. Next, let's talk about KHM Cares. So the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about the winter clothes drive for children in Cleveland. So you guys look at what I got in the mail this week. So it's really loud. Mittens. It's like a million mittens in one little package. So I'm packing this in my suitcase for KTA next week. So I hope that you guys are going online and either doing the Amazon list or buying something and bringing it with you, because we really want to make an impact at the event this year. So even if you're not going to KTA, you can still participate. So that Amazon, those links are on the KHM website. And I think we can probably post them in the chat today as well. So if you can participate, let's show Cleveland what KHM has and how we can support kids in the area. All right, 4 more sleeps, you guys, and we will be in Cleveland ready to start KTA. And we're so looking forward to seeing you and meeting so many of you. So for those of you that won't be there, we look forward to seeing you at future events. But I'm like beside myself with excitement. Let's get this party started today with Wanda Thomas and Virginia Ambushemi from the here to talk about being out of the office. So this segment is brought to you by Sandals and Beaches Vacations, the ultimate in luxury all-inclusive vacations, celebrating 40 years of love and trust. Hello, you guys.
Hello.
Hi there.
How are you today?
Good.
Good. So we're going to dig deep into this question of how to prep to be out of the office. And a lot of the agents on the line might be saying, how do we really need to dig, Carolyn? But I feel like we need to, because just in my conversations with the two of you, like the 3 of us do it not totally different, but pretty different. So VA, the holiday season is upon us. We're going to be taking time off. What do you feel like you need to do in order to feel like you can actually step away? Or do you ever feel like you can actually step away?
Oh gosh, I think since I got into this business, I feel like I'm a travel advisor 24 hours a day. I can't even go to a hotel for pleasure without critiquing the hotel. So it's just like I live it now. But for me, my business is very different. I have a limited number of clients, and it's gotten to the point where I know most of them personally, because in a lot of cases they travel with me. So it's a little easier for me because I just don't have the volume. I do sometimes tell people that I won't say out of the office, I'll say not in as much as normal, and I may have a delay getting back to you.
Okay.
But if I'm not leaving the country, I'm usually not even saying that.
So what do you do if you, well, let's ask Wanda what she does in this situation, then I'm going to circle back. Wanda, how do you prep for the time that you're away?
Well, I think my scenario, kind of as Virginia said about her scenario, is a little different. But I think coming from the corporate world, we always used our out of office when we were out of office to just let people know we were not there, and to expect, a return call when we returned. And I guess that's kind of stuck with me. So anytime I'm going out of the office, I still put my out of office on my emails to let people know I'm out. I typically, a week or two before, start to put that in my signature line to say I'm going to be out of the office from this date to that date, as well as I might post something on Facebook. I actually saw something today that another agent did that was, like I'm going to be out from this date to that date because I'm hosting a group. And that's pretty much what I do. I think the dynamic of my business is mostly groups. So kind of like as VA said, most of my clients are traveling with me when I travel. So with that particular situation, I don't typically have a lot that's happening while I'm gone. I have some clients, so because I do some FIT, so I have some clients that might be traveling, but I make an earnest effort to communicate to them full-heartedly throughout the process before they travel and before I travel to ensure that they're very versed on how should they handle things. Lastly, I'll say my personality allows me to set the expectations. I've always been in the mindset that, even with employees, et cetera, you sit down and you set the expectations up front. People kind of understand, if you would, the rules of the game. We'll put it that way. And I kind of have a little speech that I say to most of my clients that, I don't have any kids. I love kids, but I don't have any. I mostly deal with adults, and my demographic says that my clientele base is over 40. Therefore, as an adult, I expect you to take accountability and responsibility for whatever is needed during your travels. But I fully prepare you beforehand, as well as if I'm in the country and if I'm in town, I definitely, respond. So people do reach out to me via text, et cetera. They have my direct cell number. And most of the time they know I'll text, I'll WhatsApp, or whatever the case may be.
So I love that, because so many times agents think that they have to be this 24/7 person in order to compete with the internet, and that you have to offer this level, which is what I mean. I don't think you're taking away from that by saying I'm not available during this time or that time, but this is how I roll, and this is what I can do for you. Now, the question to both of you is, what do you do? Do you have someone cover for you if the situation arises where you're not available? Like, what do you do in the event of an emergency? Because, I have people, doesn't matter how many times you point out the during travel number, they call you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I always have someone covering for me if I'm going to be out of the country. In the country, it's a different ball game, but going out of the country, I'll always ask someone to cover. And Carolyn, and we have traded back and forth. You've covered for me, I've covered for you. I try to give a list of all the trips I have coming up. I'll have confirmation numbers, supplier confirmation number, details about it, and I'll send an email, a personal email, to each one of my people who are traveling or close to travel, and say, I'm going to be out. There may be a delay getting back to you. If you need something and it's an emergency, this person is covering for me. And I give name, telephone number, email, and then I copy whoever's covering for me so that they see the note and know that we've all communicated.
And I think you brought up something really important. The close to travel matters as well, because there is a time frame there that if something needs to be canceled, if something needs to be done within a time frame, it matters. It matters how quickly they can reach you.
Yeah, in some cases, it's not close to travel. It can be 6 months down the road and things come up. Yep. So the more the person covering for you knows, the easier it is for them to help you.
When you're looking for someone to cover for you, what are some of the most important things that you're looking for? Because I personally don't think you just kind of say, hey, I need someone to cover for me these dates and these dates. I feel like you got to dig a little bit deeper.
Me?
Either one of you.
Okay, I didn't know if you were still talking to me, if you wanted Wanda to talk. We're taking turns here. We're sharing. I look for someone who has a similar operating, what's the right word? We tend to do things the same way. We're detailed oriented. We're checking up on things. We're somebody that I trust, somebody with KHM or whichever agency you're working with, because that's important too. But I mean, I'm blessed with having a group of agents. We've become friends. And I know that I can call, even if Carolyn is covering for me, if it's something that I know someone else is going to be more knowledgeable about, I know that I can say, hey, would you mind helping me with this? And they'll do it, because if the situation's reversed, I would do the same thing for them.
And I think
So
VA makes an awesome point there about, creating a network of friends, agents that are friends. I have a wealth of those that if I should need, I do have somebody to reach out. But unlike VA, I don't typically have anybody covering for me. What I try to make sure is that the client has scenarios, if you would, of what if this takes place, then let's do this kind of scenario. So it's a preemptive conversation about, if this takes place, then this is how we would handle that. Whether it be call this particular number, reach out to me. I always like to be in the loop, so I always tell them to reach out to me. But the other thing is, I'm very tech savvy, so I work a lot on the road. I mean, my laptop is always with me. I do a lot from my cell phone. My cell phone is I mean, as we know, especially based on the cost of them these days, it's a computer. It's a full-blown computer, and I use it as such. So I do a lot via my phone. I keep so many resources at my fingertips through Google Drive, as well as, for instance, in my browser, I have folders for the different vendors, et cetera, with links, emergency numbers, you name it, I've got it. I also use an application called Evernote, which is very much like, I guess, OneNote, where I keep that type of information so that if I have a challenge or an issue, I have those numbers immediately available where I can reach out to someone. The other thing that I kind of thought about this week that I do as well, because my working operation, the way I do things, I like to send people where I've been. I've already created relationships with people in those destinations so that when there is a challenge, I already have somebody that they can go to. Because as an example, this week I had a couple to go to Cancun, to Atelier, and I have a couple of contacts at that resort that before they went, I reached out to them, said they're coming, here's the situation, even told my client if anything should go wrong, et cetera, and you're not able to reach me, please see, this person, they'll be more than happy to address it, so forth and so on. So I guess in a way, I do have people covering for me, but I hadn't really thought about it from the standpoint of, having another agent that's covering for me. It's more of a preemptive, let me prepare you for the what if.
I love it. To me, like, the word here is empower, right? You are empowering your clients to tackle some of these things themselves. And at the same time, you're empowering another agent to help you if that's the path you decide to take, so that you can actually take a breather. And that's what I think is important, is that we all deserve that time. It's just figuring out, how do we do that? Because ultimately, you have to have a plan in place for something. You just don't want to leave them.
So what if?
The
Exactly.
what if. And at the end of the day, the what if isn't, the client ending up calling, whichever agency you're with, KHM agent support, and asking for help on their booking. You want them to have a point of contact or the ability to reach you. I love the fact, and we're going to bring you back to talk about how mobile you are, because I'm mobile, right? But I'm not that mobile. And so I know you're going to teach me a thing or two. Ladies, thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Thank you for having us. One last thing I want to say about this is we often compare ourselves to other professions like doctors, lawyers, et cetera. I tell everyone to really think about the fact you cannot reach your doctor 24/7. They may have an answering service, they may not have an answering service, but you cannot reach them 24/7.
Yeah.
We are very much should be operating in the same mindset. You prepare them.
You go to the emergency room.
There
That's
you
where
go.
you go if you need it. You go to urgent care. Yeah, that's a really good point.
And I agree with you, Carolyn, about doing another session about being mobile, because one thing, when you do have to access information, it's so much easier today than it used to be. I don't travel with folders anymore. It's all in the computer.
You know I
somewhere.
do.
I know you do.
That's why my backpack's the size of a small elephant. Oh my goodness. Thank you guys so much for being here. Next time you're in costume. Come on now.
Costume. I'm the old tired lady. What's up?
I'm the lady in her office working.
There you go.
Bye, you guys. Oh
Bye-bye.
my goodness. I could just sit and laugh with them all day long. All right. Matt is back. We love when our next guest is on his adventures, and this last adventure took him to something he had never experienced before. Here for Matt's Compass, sponsored by FunJet Vacations, specializing in Mexico and the Caribbean, a fantastic place to book pre and post cruise nights, is our own Matt Wahlgren, who was just on the Disney Dream. Matt, how are you?
I'm doing great, Carolyn. How are you?
Good. So where's your costume? Where's your Mickey costume? Come on, you didn't pick up something on the ship?
I didn't do my homework.
All right. So
My dog ate it.
Yeah, you experienced the Disney Dream, a week or two ago. It's a very broad question, but what did you think?
Yeah, well, first I want to set the stage. So this was my first cruise since the pandemic, not for lack of trying. I tried to go on at least 3 this year so far, but they all got canceled. And I want to mention, I'm not a Disney fanboy. I like Disney. I watch their movies, but to be honest, I haven't been on a Disney vacation since 1987. So this is my first Disney vacation since I was a little kid. And I have to say, I thought it was going to be a little overwhelming, Disney and all these things going on, but it had the right balance of things for the kids to do, the right Disney moments that were fun and perfect, that kind of brought out your inner child. And they had plenty of stuff for adults to do. They did have adults only sections on the ship. I did a whiskey tasting because I like whiskey, but they had all kinds of different alcohol tasting things you could do. And they had like a violinist and a piano player. And of course, the shows were amazing. So I saw like a Broadway style production of Beauty and the Beast, which was really cool. So I'd seen that when I was a kid, and I'd seen the live, what was it, a couple years ago when they did the live action Beauty and the Beast, and I'd seen that too. And so that was really fun. We stopped at their private island, which was really cool. Again, they had an adults only section there too. So we hung out around there and checked out kind of everything around the island, and the water was crystal clear blue. So I have to say it was all around a pretty amazing experience, and a lot funner than I thought it would be, not going with kids. I thought it was something you would take your kids on and stuff, but not having any kids and going on, I still had a lot of fun. I actually met a guy on the ship who he's been on 40 Disney cruises as an adult, and he doesn't have any kids. He just loves the Disney experience. He likes Disney, and he just goes in as an adult. It's his favorite cruise line. So it's not just for kids.
It isn't just for kids. And I shared with you when we were talking about this, my very first one, I actually met a couple as well. And I asked them, why are you here if you don't have children? And they said it was the service levels, the accommodations, the food. It was all the reasons that the rest of us sail. They found that it worked best for them. They didn't care that it had characters on board.
Yeah.
Talk about the food, because I know you love your food.
Yeah, the food was really good. So, and they had some special desserts that I hadn't seen on a cruise line yet. They had one night they had Grand Marnier souffle, which is one of my favorite desserts that you don't find a lot at restaurants. So that was absolutely delicious. Everything, I never had a bad meal. I can't think of a bad meal we had. Even on the island, they did a barbecue thing, and they had hot dogs and hamburgers and ribs and stuff like that, and it was all delicious. Sometimes I found on some of these cruise islands, like the food isn't as good on the island, but no, on this one, the food was really good. Everything, I'm trying to think, I can't think of anything that I didn't like.
Was anything different with the dining that you noticed? I mean, you hadn't been on the ship before,
Yeah.
but you noticed anything different that was maybe a new COVID protocol?
Well, they did, in general, they did have very strict COVID protocols. If you were 12 or older, you had to be vaccinated. Even though you were vaccinated, when you arrived at the port, everybody had to get a rapid test. You wear your mask indoors. Outdoors was fine. You didn't have to wear the mask. At dining, you would wear your mask to walk in. And then when you sat down, you could take it off. Other than that, there was nothing different about the dining from a COVID perspective. One thing I thought was really cool, this was a short cruise, I think it was 3 nights. They moved us to a different restaurant each night. They had different restaurants and we went to a different one, but our same wait staff came with us.
That
So
is called rotational dining, and it is a Disney signature. Right, Eva?
Yeah,
Eva's going to come on in a few minutes. That's one of my favorite things about Disney Cruise Line is the fact that you get to experience different restaurants, but your staff stays the same.
Right, and I never had that. I've never had that on other cruise line. It's normally you go to the main dining and that's that, or you go to the buffet or something else. But I've never had it where they allow you to move restaurants each night. That was really cool. And I have to say, so the Animator's Palette restaurant. So I thought, oh, it might be a little too kiddie or, you know, kid stuff, whatever. But that was probably one of my favorite restaurants me and my friend went on. It kind of brought out your inner child. It was like you're sitting in an aquarium. Because they had all these TV screens and it's like Finding Nemo and Dory. And my friend, who's a little bit younger than me and was really into Dory, he just kept taking videos and he kept, you know, giggling or getting giddy every time that little creature walked, you know, kind of swam by the screen and stuff. And the food, that's where I had the Grand Marnier souffle as well. So it was a great experience.
Do you feel at the end of the day, you have a much better picture of what Disney offers as far as cruises goes and a better way to sell it now?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to learn more and go on it a few more times and go on different ships and itineraries, or maybe even do the river cruise line and see what that's about. But I think I can talk to it better to my clients who maybe even ones who have kids and want to go, but didn't want to be all overly Disneyfied everything. And I can kind of tell them, no, it's a really good balance. There are people I met on the ship who kind of they have a good kids program where they put their kids on it and they're kind of left alone to their own devices. I know a lot of cruise lines have that too, but with Disney, you think, you know, maybe there's nothing for me to do. I'm going to want to hang around my kids the whole time because it's funner to be with kids with Disney. But no, there's plenty of adult activities to do that. You can put your kids in the daycare or kids program and enjoy your own adult things. And one thing that I thought that I hadn't seen before too, which I think hit a sweet spot with, I would say, I mean, it's kids, but it's their 18 to 20-year-old program, which is because that's kind of a gap, right? Because they're not 21, they can't drink alcohol, they can't do some of those 21 and over activities. So they have a special group for 18 to 20-year-olds, like sort of their own camp, right? Because they don't want to hang out with the high schoolers. They're in college now, so they kind of have special activities just for them, which I thought was really cool. And I don't think a lot of other cruise lines do that either.
Yep. Well, on that note, let's bring Eva in to chat a little bit more. And I love, you know, I feel like once you've experienced Disney Cruise Line, you can also explain the price point and you can explain it really well and why the value is there. Hi, Eva.
Hello there. Hi, Kara. I love your hat, your jeans.
Thank you. Thank you. And it comes with these really cool wristbands too. I know you guys are jealous. Hey, Amazon, you got to love it. But, you know, Matt was just talking about how much fun he had on Disney Cruise Line and how he's so much more prepared to sell the line and just more knowledgeable now.
Yeah, that's great. I was listening in and it's always delightful to hear adult guests and their impression on Disney Cruise Line. I think for a lot of travel advisors who may not be as familiar with Disney Cruise Line, there's always that perception that it's just for kids, just for families. And in fact, at least a quarter of the guests that sail out of Port Canaveral sail without children. And I think a lot of that has to do with what you had mentioned about some of the encounters you had with adult guests, is that guests choose Disney because they want the best in service. They want a high quality product where, you know, just getting on board from the staterooms to the cast service to the food qualities. Yes, they have some affinity toward Disney entertainment. There's nothing like it. We are an entertainment company first and foremost. So those Broadway style productions, they touch all of our hearts, no matter how old we are, the first run films. And so we do get a lot of guests that enjoy coming on board because they know the type of experience that they're going to get. So it's nice to hear that, Matt, that you had a good experience. And you may be surprised when you're speaking to your clients, presenting Disney Cruise Line as an option, even if they don't have children. We just might have the right itinerary, it might be the right fit. Maybe they're interested in concierge level. We have wonderful concierge suites, the adult only spaces that you had mentioned as well. We do certainly provide something for everyone.
So one of my favorite things on Disney Cruise Line is the Pirate Night. Matt, I don't know if you guys had the opportunity to experience the fireworks at sea. I know,
Yeah,
even
we
you
did.
said right now there isn't the Pirate Night, but in typical Disney style, we don't take something away. We put something out there that just enhances the experience. So right now it's Halloween. And is it the Boo Bash on board, or is that at the parks?
Correct. So we do have a Halloween event on. I don't know if you had a chance, Matt, to attend. Right now, Halloween on the high seas is across the fleet. They typically start beginning of September through the end of the month, and then we move into our maritime cruises. But we do have a deck party available for the guests, and we have a number of Halloween activities. It's always wonderful to see guests come out, and even those that aren't, you know, pint-sized young sailors, but even adult guests are dressed up. Maybe they'll be dressed up as a pirate, but they're dressed up in their favorite Halloween outfit. And we always, with most of our sailings, we always give that proper kiss goodnight and Disney style, which is fireworks. And we do have that on board Disney Cruise Line still.
That's amazing. Were you able to experience that, Matt?
Yeah, we did have the fireworks, which was really cool because I don't think I've been that close to fireworks before. When they're on the ship like that, they're right there, and everything was decked out in Halloween style. They had this like Halloween tree. They had, you know, special decorations in the windows, so that was really cool. One other thing I wanted to mention that's different than other cruise lines is as you board the ship, they welcome you as if you're like a dignitary, you know, and welcome. And then there's like Mickey and Minnie Mouse and other crew members there clapping as you sort of board the ship as if it's, you know, it feels like you're on, you know, a fancy ship from the 1800s or something, and you're some sort of dignitary at this grand ball. It's really cool.
I cry every time. Every time I cry. I can barely, they're like, what's your name? And I'm like, like anticipating just the tears, because I just feel it's so special and emotional, and everyone's there clapping. That, I mean, what else are you going to do but weep?
Yeah, it does. It sets the stage for the experience on board and the level of service that our crew provides our guests, your clients, and it starts at the moment of arrival. And it's important, no matter if a guest is in an inside stateroom or a luxurious concierge suite, that every guest is important and should be made to feel welcome. And I think guests are surprised by the fact that we do welcome every guest family by name on entry. And so it does set the stage for that experience.
Eva, has anything changed as far as character greetings when it comes to Disney Cruise Line and what a guest can experience in regards to COVID?
Yeah, so we have made some adjustments to our onboard experience. I will tell you that the characters are all around and about for guests to enjoy, but we do have those encounters at a safe distance. So we will have characters in the main atrium. You can see on the Disney Cruise Line app when and where the characters will appear. And so you'll have those pictures at a safe distance. So maybe a family member can take the picture. The characters are at 6 or 8 feet away, but they're all abound. Matt, I don't know how many times you've got to see so many of the characters, but it's so moving. they are definitely on board. So really important is always to look at the Know Before You Go website for Disney Cruise Line. Really important resource, and it's fluid. So that when I say that is that any adjustments, this is going to be the main source of information, is that Know Before You Go site, and it really will save you a lot of time having to call reservations for a simple question that might already be available. So for example, our Oceaneers Club, Oceaneers Lab, we have limited the number of hours that guests can reserve that prior to sailing. So there's those type of points on certain spaces or certain onboard experiences that you definitely want to look at from on the Know Before You Go website. But as far as the magic, it is there. It is all about all the things and differences that you come to expect with Disney Cruise Line. Guests will enjoy it 100% on board Disney Cruise Line. We are so thrilled that the Disney Dream is sailing again, the Disney Fantasy out of Port Canaveral. At the end of this month, the Disney Magic will sail from Port Miami. The Disney Wonder has already started sailing from Port San Diego, and we just announced today that we're resuming our sailings as well from Galveston, Texas in November. So our fleet of 4 ships are sailing once again, and we're excited to welcome your clients on board.
One of the things that I think is amazing, and I feel like I need to give a huge shout out to really everyone in the cruise industry. I have yet to hear anyone disappointed when they get off of a cruise right now. And I just feel like the service levels are there. The magic is still there across the board when it comes to cruising, no matter what line. And that's just so nice to hear, because I don't feel like that's across the board with travel right now. And to have a client get on a ship and get off the ship and be happy with their experience, oh, that's music to my ears.
It is, and we appreciate everything KHM and all travel advisors out there. It's a tough role to play, to be the intermediary between cruise lines and your clients, and all these changing policies, and just trying to navigate all that. Certainly has not been easy. The advisors have been great ambassadors to the Disney brand, Disney Cruise Line, and really helping their clients prepare for what to expect, as Matt had mentioned about the rapid test happening for all guests as well at the port, what the online check-in process looks like, the importance of the Disney Cruise Line app, all of those details. The advisors are the ones that are helping to communicate that information and making sure that the client has that proper checklist. Again, that Know Before You Go website has all that information, but we are certainly grateful for all that you do to help build that confidence again with clients and sailing on Disney Cruise Line, as you mentioned, other cruise lines as well.
Before we let Matt go and we switch gears, one of my favorite things on board the ship is always the oh gosh, I'm going to forget the name of it, the daily planner, right? That tells me where I need to be and at what time, but also the wave phones. And those have basically both been replaced with the app. I think if there was one buzzword that came out of COVID and cruise lines, it would be everyone has gone like full force technology, touchless, everything at your fingertips. What can you tell us about the app in relationship to Disney Cruise Line and the things that we're going to use it for now that we didn't in the past?
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. It's just more of an efficient experience. It does help in promoting social distancing. It's just immediate. Matt, I'm sure when you were on your cruise, you were able to communicate with each other, your fellow passenger via chat on the Disney Cruise Line app. So some of the functionalities have always been there. The online check-in is important, but now even more so, being able to view the menus, in taking pictures of menus as well in any of our, whether it's a bar or whether it's at any of our main dining rooms or adult dining. So the app now plays an important role to be able to see not only the daily itinerary, but also to see the menus and see, of course, your plans. It also keeps track of your folio. So we do not submit paper folios anymore the night before the guests check out. So it's important for the guests to look at the app to see any charges and so forth. You can also communicate with guest services via the app. So that avoids the need to go to online at guest services. You can book a spa, excursions, port adventures, I should say, all through the app. It is also an important part of the muster drill, the required check-in as well. So it becomes the primary source of navigation on board Disney Cruise Line, and it really, we don't have the wave phones, as you mentioned, anymore on board. So guests can communicate via phone now by logging into our network. So you're right. It has, I think the enhancements, I think, will be positive overall, will be something well received. And from what we've heard and from advisors like Matt, been on the ship, have shared with us how much having the app has made a difference for them.
Awesome. Matt, thank you so much. Oh, go ahead, please.
I was just going to say, yeah, that support chat feature on there was one of the best things. You didn't have to go walk down to guest services. You could be in your bed chatting with them if you had any question about anything. That was one of my favorite features of the app. And then one difference I did want to mention before I go, and maybe because I think this is a change because of the pandemic, and maybe Eva has an inside story, but I loved it. It was the muster. The muster, you don't go anywhere. You do it from your stateroom, and there's a video that you watch, which I loved, and I hope that they keep it that way. So I don't know if they're going to keep it that way or not, but I thought that was really cool. I wish hopefully other cruise lines will do that too, because muster's kind of the thing. I'm like, oh, do I have to go to this thing, you know? But when you can just watch it from your stateroom, it makes it super easy.
Yeah, I just want to jump in with that. So guests still must report to their muster station, but they do so when they board the ship. They will have, of course, their port arrival form, and it says where your muster station is. So guests are still required to go. They're not having where you have this large announcement. Those announcements are going on, but they go to that area so that guests acknowledge. They take a picture. The cast members are there, or say the crew is there. They take a picture of where their station is, so that we see that they have checked in. And the reason it's important that they physically go to the station is that they are aware in the event of emergency where they do need to report. But to Matt's point about following up and listening to the full information on the muster drill itself, that information is definitely available to view on their stateroom television. But I guess we need to go present themselves at muster drill station.
One of my favorite pictures from our very first Disney cruise is out on the deck with the lifeboats in the back and my children with their big orange vests on, because at that point you actually had to bring the vest with you from your stateroom, and they're, you know, tiny, and they got these vests on, and you're standing and you're standing and you're standing and you're just waiting for it to be over, quite frankly. So this is, I feel like, a much better way to capture someone's attention and, you know, have them actually digest the information that they need. So Matt, thank you so much.
Thank you. See you next week in person, finally.
Yes. Yay. So excited. All right. So Eva, we've got so much to talk about because it's the 50th anniversary. Does it get any better?
It is getting better.
I saw the pictures and it looked like people were getting posters as they were leaving the park. I was so jealous. I think we actually had some agents that were there, but it just looked like a fantastic celebration and continues to be.
It is. And when I say it's just starting, is that what's wonderful about the 50th anniversary is it is an 18-month-long celebration. So it is, I think, for those that were able to be at Walt Disney World Resort on our anniversary last Friday, or for those that were able to watch and tune in to our nighttime spectaculars and our shows from their home across the country, it is delightful. And all of us have so many memories when we think about the happiest place. We think about the Walt Disney World Resort, and we think about how many memories all of us have over time. It really is something special, and it extends not just to guests, but also, of course, to cast members as well that were part of the opening, and still in many cases are still working with us today. So very, very special. Thank you.
Well, and one of the things that I've loved is kind of the tie-in that the parks have had with, of course, Disney just across the board, right? I don't know if you've seen the series. Oh gosh, what's the name of it on Disney Plus that talks about the creation of some of the classic rides. So where did the Jungle Cruise? How in the world did that come about? How did Space Mountain come about? It's fascinating. I mean, it's a documentary on how all of these things really came about and the mindset behind them. And moving forward, how do you continue to, you know, speak to the current client, but still honor the past?
Precisely. Well, we're really excited about the next 18 months, and we certainly have a lot in store at Walt Disney World Resort for your clients, our guests to enjoy, of course, with the 50th anniversary of 2 new nighttime spectaculars, Enchantment, fireworks over at Magic Kingdom Park, and of course Harmonious over at Epcot, our new production Kite Tales at Animal Kingdom, of course Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, which opens in the France Pavilion, and we just recently announced, didn't say the date yet, but in 2022 that the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind attraction at Epcot will also debut. We have the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser 2-night epic experience. We did announce opening on March the 1st, and those reservations will open up to the general reservations will open up at the end of this month. So that's just a quick summary of the highlights of some of the things, but so much more to come. When you think about most of our resorts are all open now. Many of the entertainment is coming back. We've got our events that take place. I know that we had on KHM today, I think we were talking about a Food and Wine Festival.
Yes.
Last year, Epcot's International Food and Wine Festival. So a lot to look forward to. And of course, Disney Genie, I can't help but bring that up because look at that.
The whole reason for the costume. You know, when I first heard of this, I just went, oh no, I finally got down my plan and how I roll with my clients and my Disney experience. And now they're throwing something new at me. But as I read more, I really like the idea behind this because I'm a big fan of not waiting. And if you don't want to wait, here is an option for you. And I love it. So can you give us like any details that you have?
Yes, so one of the good things is that we did was we've prepared the travel agency trade. So several weeks back when we did announce Disney Genie coming to the Walt Disney World Resort and the Disneyland Resort, we prepared all of you with important talking points. We also provided a travel agency training that's available as it's archived on their webcast on the College of Disney Knowledge. So for those that are still not aware, it's important to take a look at some of this verbiage to kind of get an idea of what's going to take place when it launches this fall. And of course, take that training as well. So Disney Genie is a complimentary service, and it already will exist within the mobile app. So the My Disney Experience app for Walt Disney World Resort, and then the Disneyland app for Disneyland. And so some of the functionalities are currently available. For example, being able to see wait times at the attractions, being able to chat with cast members. You know, Matt was talking about Disney Cruise and the ability to just be able to ask a question from the comfort of your stateroom. Same thing, whether it's in your room, you're at the park, and you can ask our cast members questions about the experience while at our theme parks. But there's additional options coming up. Of course, mobile ordering is available right now, which is important for all our quick service, but there will be more forecasted future wait times and just suggestions based on what the guest enters into the app on things that they're interested in while visiting the Walt Disney World Resort or the Disneyland Resort. So whether it's who their favorite characters are or type of attractions that they're interested in. And so in real time, the Disney Genie will be able to provide tips and suggestions on maybe this attraction has this wait time right now because you had made a request for, or you had provided interest in that attraction.
Okay.
And maybe this restaurant that you maybe not have a reservation for, it's very close by, has availability right now. So having that real time gives more options for the guests, again, once they are on property at our parks. Now, there is, of course, the paid service, which is Disney Genie Plus. And then there's the individual attraction purchase as well. Now, what that means is that guests who do not wish to wait on the regular standby line have an option now to bypass that and go through the lightning lane. So the Fast Pass name is now retired in both parks. Same with Max Pass at the Disneyland resort. So they'll have that option if they'd like to be able to purchase it, pre-purchase it for length of ticket at either Walt Disney World or Disneyland. And that allows guests then to, once they're in the parks, to be able to choose one attraction at a time and be able to bypass the standard wait or standard standby line and go straight through the lightning lane entry. And they can also have the option to purchase what they call individual attractions, only up to 2 a day, not per park, but 2 overall across the 4 theme parks. So we have not, there's some information obviously the travel trade is waiting for, like what are the list of attractions that will be part of Disney Genie Plus? What are the list of attractions for the individual attraction purchase? So there are some details we know that you all need to help you and your clients prepare, and that information is forthcoming. We will definitely have that out, but we needed to get the information out for all of you. So for those that maybe not as savvy with our theme parks, it's a good idea to get familiar, I think, with the verbiage now, so that it doesn't seem so, it'll be nice and smooth at the time of launch. But we're very excited about it.
I think it's going to take some time getting used to, but I think ultimately it's going to really enhance the guest experience, is what, you know, ultimately both of our goals is. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much, as always. It's a pleasure. I enjoy being with you. And of course, having an opportunity to speak to KHM and all the advisors. And I too am looking forward to KTA next week. So for those that will be there, I look forward to having a chance to meet you. And for those that aren't, I hope to get a chance to meet you virtually at another event down the road. Thank you so much.
Just so you know, next week's no costumes, just so you know. I didn't want to throw you off that you show up and you're in costume. That is not a costume. That's a given. That you just wear.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good to see you.
Likewise.
All right, you guys. So do you ever meet those people that, you know, you're like, oh my gosh, how do they do this stuff? Our next guest, Ashley Newton from the marketing team, specifically the video team, is here because she is the Halloween craft queen. Please welcome Ashley here to show us a fun craft that we can do to celebrate her favorite holiday season. So hi, Ashley.
Hi, Carolyn. Thank you so much for having me back. I'm so excited to be here today, get our hands dirty and have some fun.
Good. So I should say that this segment is sponsored by Princess Cruise Line, home to the medallion class. And don't forget to get your Princess refresher courses in before it's too late. So what do you have for us today?
Well, I didn't even know we were sponsored by Princess, so how fun that I'm wearing my little crown.
Yes, your Halloween crown.
Yes, today we are going to be doing a paint pour craft. You might have seen this on the internet or on TikTok or something like that. So our end result is going to be something with this sort of paint effect. You can see that's kind of marbly, a lot of fun stuff going on. So to start, I want to kind of share why I love Halloween so much really quickly with everyone. And I think it ties so well into our theme that seemed to carry this whole show, which is having fun, letting that inner child sort of soar. And that is what I love so much about this time of year. And I also love that it gives us a chance to be creative. You know, as a member of KHM Travel's marketing team, I think we're always looking for ways to be creative and sort of just get out of our comfort zone a little. So if you want to do that and you want to do this craft at home, here's some things that you're going to need. Number one, this is a messy activity. You can see I'm on my floor here. I have a tablecloth taped down. It's actually doubled up. But if you do it outside, maybe on a patio or something like that, I highly recommend. Step two, comfy clothes that you do not mind getting dirty. And then we'll get into the actual fun stuff we need to make this happen, right? So obviously we're gonna need some sort of canvas. For mine, I'm actually doing one of these little canvas that you would get for a kid that's like paint by numbers, because they are super cheap and I'm always looking to save a buck. And then step 2, you're gonna wanna get some acrylic, just basic acrylic paint. You can find this at pretty much any craft store, maybe even like Walmart or somewhere like that. And we're going with some classic Halloween colors here. So we've got our, our brilliant natural white. We've got, classic black for a nice beautiful contrast, and then a really bright, fun orange that's gonna hopefully just add a nice little pop of color to everything. So you select your paints, and if you're doing this at home, choose colors that speak to you. You can add some, you can take some out. I'd recommend at least 2, otherwise you're just painting a canvas, right? Now, to get that marbly sort of effect where everything runs together really smooth and fluid, you're gonna need some, probably not this much, of what's called Flettrol. I'm gonna hold it up real close there. So it's really just a latex-based paint additive, exactly like what it says. So it's just gonna help it really run smooth together, help all the paint sort of blend and flow like the river, like what we want. And then you'll just need some basic 3-in-1 silicone as well. Just a few drops of this is all that we need for this project. And once we get going, I'll show you what the silicone does. It creates this really cool sort of bubbling effect and makes the paint sort of peel from each other, which I think is so fun for a creepy Halloween sort of craft. You'll need some cups, anything just to mix all your ingredients together. An actual mixing utensil. I'm using a disposable spoon that I got from Dairy Queen. Once again, paper towels. This is going to be super messy. And if you want, you can glove up, get some gloves. I'm not going to use those. Not used to them. I don't mind getting dirty. And then we'll get into that. This is going to be optional for at the end. And another optional element would be just a simple paintbrush to go ahead and paint the sides of your canvas here, because it is a pour effect. Now, you can forego that entirely and really just work on getting your edges like I've done here, but it saves you some time and it actually helps the paint pour over this sort of material a little better. So you'd need a paintbrush for that. I just tried to find one that was about the width, and you're good to go. Last, this is going to take a while to dry. So you want something that's going to have a raised sort of surface. You could use a locker shelf, maybe like a baking rack for when you take the cookies out and they need to cool. Cooling rack, that's the word I'm looking for. This is a makeshift thing I made with trash and wood skewers that you would use to like just grill with. So you can see my canvas actually just sits right on top. So that'll allow it to dry and not glob or stick or ruin any of our fun hard work.
I feel like you're a totally serious crafter. Like, you've got this stuff. I feel like this is not your first rodeo. That had other paint stains on it.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a craft hoarder, so it's always fun though, because you never know what you can do with the stuff that you just pick up.
Right. Okay, so what do we do next?
All right, so now we're gonna actually just dive right in. So hopefully I'm trying to make it so you guys can see as much as possible.
That's great.
Okay, so I've already pre-mixed my black solution and my white solution. Oh, can't see that. But we're gonna go ahead and do the orange together so you guys can get an idea of how you wanna do this. So in a little cup like this, there's usually a small little line at the bottom. I just squeeze and try to fill till about that point. Really, it depends on the size of whatever you're working with, the size of your canvas or whatever you're pouring it on. But the important thing is to try to double the amount of your Flettrol to your paint. So if you are nervous and you want to break out the measuring cups or, anything like that to get more precise measurements, I say go for it. But I just measure with my heart. I measure till the heart says that's enough. So you double this to the amount of paint you put in your cup. And then you want to take your silicone and add just a few drops there. For this, the more that you add, the more you're going to get a bubbly sort of effect to that. And I'll show you at the end so you have an idea of what I'm talking about. So it'll look kind of something like that. And then you just want to mix it all together until you see the color from the paint sort of take over the translucence of the paint additive. So you want it to all sort of have the same color and consistency throughout. Get any sort of bubbles or anything. Again, let your heart tell you when you're done mixing. All right, so now we have our 3 cups prepped and ready to go. And now you just have fun. You just throw it all on the canvas at any sort of rate that you want. I usually like to start with my darker colors and put the white sort of on top so it doesn't get lost. And I like to add some movement and motion as I'm putting it on. So let's just dive into it, right? I'm gonna go ahead and wiggle the black throughout. Ooh, it's gonna be funky. All right, I'll switch to my orange. Ooh, I like it already. So my orange
Now, we
is
were
coming
talking
out.
the other day, you feel like we could also use a pumpkin and do the same sort of technique and like drape it over one of those craft pumpkins.
You know, I really don't see why not. Like we were talking about, ooh, that was way too much white. Like we were talking about, you might want to mix with your ratios a little because acrylic paint already sticks really well to the texture of a pumpkin. So you might need a little bit less of the additive, a little bit more. I've never done it. So if you do try it, let us know how it goes. You know, drop us a comment, find us on social media, hashtag KHM Today, and let us know if you try mixing this and doing it, making it your own. All right, so I'm gonna hold this up a little and let you guys sort of see what it looks like. It's really just a mess at this point. That's all we're working with. Now I try to grab from the bottom so I'm not messing it up too much on the sides, and then you just slowly tilt. Oops, getting everywhere. And shift. And yeah, you can see now I was not kidding when I said this is gonna be a messy, messy fun time. But what I love about this craft is it's something you can do on your own time. Maybe if you've got kids or grandkids, you can throw on Hocus Pocus or Haunted Mansion or another fun classic and just have a fun family craft night, or, you know, have your friends over and you can maybe have some drinks or throw on a scary horror movie or, you know, whatever calls to you. So really, there's no limit to this. It's just a fun place to sort of get started.
I
And
love
you
this.
can do this-
I bought these for my kids in the past too, and these are great gifts. Like, you know, there's nothing better if you're running out of ideas and you just need something for, you know, kid to give to grandma and grandpa. Like, nothing screams better than homemade art.
Yeah, I can promise
I
you,
like
most
that.
people in my life are sick of getting crafts from me. They're like, yeah, I don't need it anymore.
I'm here for a gift card. Just give me a gift card. I like that one's better than the one we did yesterday.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, so Carolyn's done this with me a couple times now. So
Yeah.
he knows
And
that
I use the term we lightly because really I just sit here and watch in awe.
well, you know, at least from seeing it, that no 2 of these are ever going to be the same, which is really
Yes.
cool. Everybody in the room is going to walk away with something totally unique to them if you decide to do this in like a group setting. I know
Yes.
Wanda was saying that she sells groups. Heck, you could do this together.
You could. This is a cheaper way to do wine with paint. Or what was that? Painting, the wine and paint thing that you do.
Yeah, bring your own wine, right? So, you know, you really just want to do it until you like the pattern. Make sure that all the original canvas is covered unless you like that look. Really, it's up to you. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'll show you guys what it looks like. All right. Ooh, okay. So that's about what we're working with. I think it looks pretty cool. So I'm gonna go ahead, put it on my drying rack, set the whole thing over to the side, try to get some of this paint off my hands before I grab my finished work. In the theme of magic, we have a completed one so you guys can see what it looks like. But once this is done and you're happy with the way that it looks, set it somewhere out of the way if you got pets or kids or, you know, clumsy people in your house, and let it sit. I would say overnight is really ideal, but
Okay.
at least 12 hours. You got a lot of paint on that canvas. Okay, so like Carolyn said, we already did this, and this is the one that we did yesterday.
Yeah.
All those
Yeah, I like
bubbles.
today's better.
That's the silicone that gives us that bubble effect. So the more you add, the more you're gonna get that sort of a look. And to take this sort of to the next level, I made this little cardstock witch hat that matches
Very
my. So we're gonna go ahead and just grab any adhesive. I have a glue gun out because that's usually my go-to. But if there's any scrapbookers watching this, they probably know about these little glue dots. My gosh, these are amazing. I love it, especially when you want a really flat sort of look. So I figured we'd try to do that first. So first I want to you know, sort of play around, position it. Do I want it centered? Do I want it cute? Do I want it this way, that way? However, now I think I'm gonna do it here. I got paint everywhere. About like that. So I'm just gonna flip her. Get my glue dots all the way along the edge to the best of my ability. So we have a really nice flat look with no edges coming up. I really do love this thing. We should get Elmer's to be our sponsor. This is a genius. All right. So you can see there, just got my glue on the back. I'm gonna just find a spot I like. Plop her down. Apply some pressure, not too much, because remember this is canvas. And yeah, I just freehanded this out of cardstock, but you could go to Michael's or whatever craft store you like, or find a local artist and maybe get a cool design, or maybe you have a fun family photo of everybody in costume, or you can leave it blank. But this is where we ended up.
Awesome. Ashley, thank you so much. We've got a couple people asking for instructions. So would you mind putting them on khmtoday.com?
I can type something up and get it to you, but I kind of just wing it. So
it's like a recipe. Yes, just, you know.
But I'll give them a starting point with
the starting point. Yeah, yeah.
Approximate measurements, but remember, measure with your heart in crafting.
Thank you so much. And you're going to be here every week giving us some sort of Halloween festive thing. We don't know what next week's going to be yet, do we?
I'm thinking maybe a cocktail. But
excellent, because we'll be in the office. So yay, I'm all for the cocktail too. All right, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. All right,
you.
you guys, thanks so much for being with us today. We had such a great time with our friends from Disney Destinations. Thank you to Apple Leisure Group, our show sponsor, and our segment sponsors, Sandals and Beaches Vacations, Funjet and Apple Vacations, Carnival Cruise Line, and Princess Cruise Line. Next week, we are live from KHM headquarters. We have so much fun stuff planned, and the whole team's going to be there for the first time ever. So be sure to tune in. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day.